Hey, this is Raymond Padilla from G4TV.com, and I am here with Miro from iFixit. I recently watched you take apart the new PSP Go. Did anything strike you about Sony's latest portable system?
Well, when we had the chance to open it up, we were really amazed by the sheer number of parts that can be found inside. The PSP Go falls apart into several different little sections. They have little buttons that fall off, little connectors for the buttons, and it's really a much more part-intensive task to take this device apart as opposed to, let's say, the iPod Touch third generation.
So compared to something like the iPod Touch, the PSP Go has just much more chips inside it, you'd say?
Yeah, there's multiple chips. There's several chips that serve specific functions as opposed to Apple's approach where they have one chip doing multiple things. So, for example, there's a separate video processing chip as well as a separate audio processor, and then there's Samsung Flash, which it is similar to the iPod because they both use the same manufacturer for that.
So not only are there a lot of different chips in there, but there's also a lot of different manufacturers. That's interesting.
Yes, exactly. I mean, there's Oki chips, Samsung is in there, as well as a couple of different other manufacturers, including, of course, Sony's proprietary microcontroller.
Now, one of the things that some users don't like about the PSP Go is that you can't replace the battery yourself like in the old PSP systems. There might be a workaround to that from what you found.
Right, so officially Sony doesn't want you to replace the battery, and they did place a warranty void if removed sticker on top of it. However, if you're really careful, and of course that also comes into consideration, is the thing still under warranty? If it's not, the battery is certainly easily replaceable by removing, I believe, 7 screws total and unplugging the connector for the battery. Now, even if it is still under warranty, the warranty void if removed sticker, the actual part that will mar the chip that it's on is not on the battery. So if you were super careful, as we were during the teardown, and if you just used an iPod opening tool or something flat to pry apart the sticker ever so slightly from the battery, it should technically still be okay because the sticker is not going to affect the warranty at that point. But if you try to rip it off entirely, then it's certainly going to become visible that you have attempted to remove the battery or do something else to the PSP.
So that's kind of good news, but that sticker was just very big and obvious, like
Right.
do not touch this or else,
Right.
kind of thing.
Exactly.
So doesn't seem like Sony wants gamers to really be getting in there, does it?
Yeah, and part of that is because there's really, like I mentioned earlier, a bunch of different parts inside, and if you start taking things apart and if you don't have a clear guide as to how to put it back together, it can certainly be a challenge to, use the right screws in the right holes and to make sure everything goes back together the way it was. And thankfully, the battery, you don't have to really mess around with the rest of the device, but if you, if you're kind of curious and you start taking stuff apart, it could become a disaster pretty quickly.
Yeah, it looked really complex in there, not something most people want to mess with. So final question, Miro, with the chip density, all these different chip manufacturers paying for the research and development that goes into a new system, do you think Sony can justify $250 for the PSP Go?
It's a bit of a stretch. In our quick analysis of the chips, we found that it still uses the 802.11b, and considering that Apple is currently using 802.11n as well, and not even using that functionality, it kind of strikes us as odd that Sony would put that many different components inside, and honestly, we haven't really played any of the games on it. We just took it apart, but in terms of price, there doesn't seem to be too many things in there that would make this, or this would be a money maker for Sony. It wouldn't necessarily lose money because of the expensive chips inside. So.
Gotcha. Well, there's a lot more PSP Go coverage to be found on G4TV.com and iFixit.com. Miro, thanks very much for joining us today.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.